This is really just gonna be like an unscripted update on the video I made a week ago about self-isolation and realizing that I had a problem. Because at the time of making that video, I was doing these practices and I just didn't realize that it was a bad thing until my friend who has been in my life for like years kind of pointed it out. And it was at that time where there was a period where it got worse because I was kind of at a low point, and so she kind of noticed that, and that's why she pointed it out. Like, she had noticed it for years, as I mentioned in the video, but she hadn't really brought it up because she also just thought it was a weird thing. She thought it was a weird quirk or whatever, and she thought that maybe I'd get over it or something. But then when she realized it was a pattern, thank God she pointed it out to me, and I had this epiphany, whatever. I recorded the video. And honestly, I don't even remember what I said, but I'm glad that it helped a lot of people. And I think one thing that I need to preface, I have my notes, by the way, so this isn't completely unscripted. Here it is. Okay. One thing I should preface about me is that when I realize I have a problem with something, I dive headfirst into my issues. So when I realized like I had a problem with eating and like just not eating enough, I went the complete opposite direction and like really started to make sure that I got my calories in. I didn't like follow food rules or things like that. I started like just being really healthy about it because like I just realized that if I have a problem and it continues this way, my life is not going to end up the way I want to be. And that's just kind of a fundamental belief that I have. Like, if I don't fix something now, like, it's just going to get worse in the long term. So when I had this epiphany of self-isolation, I realized, like, I'm never going to get the husband I want, get the family I want, I'm never going to have the experiences that I want to have in my life if I keep self-isolating like this. And just having that realization was really important because it makes you feel like you have a rock bottom. And that's how I kind of process things. Like, I feel like I have a rock bottom, and so I have like this sort of trampoline to kind of push myself off from that rock bottom and just dive headfirst into my issues. And this kind of leads me to what I've actually done. And this might sound like a really big change really fast, but basically I hung out with somebody every day. And I didn't hang out with people during lunch because I still, like during lunch at my school, because I still like to keep my lunches to myself just because I just find it peaceful. I think I'll get to a point where maybe I'll find a friend group. And then, oh God, even saying that, like, just because I've had bad experiences with friend groups in the past, it's like, don't do it, but those are the self-limiting beliefs, But I did hang out with somebody every day, like either just taking them home or going to get ice cream with somebody, or I got coffee with somebody as well. So just little things like that. The only day I didn't hang out with somebody was like on Saturday. And I just streamed all day. It was so fun. I count that as socializing. Technically, it's still self-isolation because I'm like alone in the corner of my room. But hey, at least it like gets me socializing, and it helps with my social skills at least. So that's good. But I also want to point out that like I'm lucky to be in this situation where I still had the opportunity to reach out to people. Because I know there's a lot of people in this situation and they actually have no one. And I did actually used to be in a situation like this. Like, there was a point where I did have nobody. Like, this self-isolation thing, it wasn't a choice. It was what had to be done because I just had nobody to lean on. And although, like, in hindsight, I'm really thankful for that period in my life, like, I don't really wish that upon anybody. And I slowly started to open up to people again after making all those like self-deprecating jokes of like, haha, I have no friends and things like that, which were just really unproductive. It was just like, just be honest with yourself. This is not healthy. But yeah, I'm really lucky to be in a situation where like my past friends didn't hate me, I guess, like, because I never ghosted anybody. And the past friends that I did have, like, I just kind of lost them completely, so there was no really chance of rebuilding those relationships, but I still had acquaintances that I could talk to. And those were the people that I ended up, like, going out with, you know? Going out with as if we're going somewhere. No, I just took them home in my car or something. But yeah, I'm lucky to still be able to like have people that I talk to, not necessarily like best friends, but just acquaintances that I could like socialize with. And I think one thing that really contributed to this was, well, one, never ghosting people. Like I always answered people's messages because I feel so bad when I don't. Like I feel bad leaving people undelivered and just things like that. But also I never put up a wall. I put sorry, the opposite of that. I did put up a wall around these acquaintances in this period of isolation. What I was talking about earlier were like I didn't really have a choice to like be with my friends because I kind of had no one. It was also because I put up a wall towards my acquaintances because I was kind of scared to get back into a really like serious friendship, serious like any type of relationship in general. And I figured out it's because like I had 3 fundamental beliefs that I'm now working on, that I'm now trying to break. And I have this mentality that if you have a habit, you have it for a reason. So I was self-isolating for a reason. So these are like the 3 reasons that I was self-isolating. Firstly, I thought like I needed to work on myself in isolation. I thought that was the only way that I could work on myself, that I could really improve in the long term. Like I thought being by myself meant that I could depend on myself, and therefore that was the only like true way to improve myself and work on myself, things like that. And I also think this is perpetuated by the media, because it's such a common thing to hear like, oh, I'm working on myself, and like underlying that basically means like you're just being alone in general. And although I am an advocate for having like a period of isolation to really figure yourself out, because I do think there is an extreme in like having and being like basically dependent on others, it's just that I took the self-isolation to the extreme in this case, and I kind of perpetuated it. I made it a consistent thing because I had this belief of I need to work on myself. And the second thing is that like I also thought subconsciously, this was a belief I really had to like dig out of myself. I thought I was gonna get hurt again if I continued to not self-isolate. If I continued to try to pursue friendships and things like that, I thought, oh, I'm gonna get hurt again. But this isn't the case. Because I think about all of the past experiences that I've had with people, in that I got super close to them and then I lost them. But in the long term, I was fine. I'm fine right now. Like, I'm actually really good right now. Like, I know this video has a whole melancholic tone and things like that. But genuinely, like, I think I'm doing really good in my life. Like, I'm really happy, honestly, with everything and how everything is working out. And it just goes to show that no matter that I had these experiences, like I still came out of it like well off. You know, like I'm very well off right now. I know that's usually in reference to like finances, but that's like the only way I can think to describe it right now. So it's like when I look at the belief like, oh, I'm gonna get hurt if I get close to somebody again, it's just not true. It's just not. Like, based on my past experiences, like, that's just what my mind wants me to believe. And it's just like really a self-limiting belief. And it's like, there comes a point where you can't hold yourself back anymore for like all of the what ifs. Like, what if this person leaves me? What if this person ends up being toxic and horrible? Like, what if this person, whatever. Things like that. I feel like at the end of the day, sometimes relationships are a risk. But they're a risk for a great reward. A great reward. And you just can't hold yourself back from that because they're such a fundamental part of life as well. And I'm slowly starting to learn this. And I know that I'm still learning. But I know it to be true, at the very least. And my third belief is that I thought like I was going to depend on other people for my happiness. It was kind of like, I thought it was going to be a slippery slope, like the slippery slope fallacy, whatever. Like, hey, if I start hanging out with this person more, I'm going to like really depend on them for my happiness. And then I'm going to want to hang out with them every day. And then I'm going to be codependent on them. When that's not the case at all. That's not just going to naturally happen. Like, that's kind of a choice that you have. You know, like, it wasn't just going to immediately be like codependency. That's not how it works. Like, first of all, there's two people in a relationship. And if one person at least knows, like, hey, this probably isn't healthy, we're kind of becoming codependent on each other, they'll point it out and they'll figure it out, you know? They'll figure it out for the both of you, at the very least. Ideally, like, both people would know. And it's just like, this fundamental belief again, like, I'm going to depend on them for happiness, like, it's just not true because that's a choice. That's not something that's just going to automatically happen. You don't just become codependent on somebody naturally over time. You don't become dependent on somebody for all of your positive emotions just naturally. That's not how relationships work. And again, just like holding myself back from relationships just because of this what if. Like, I'm still my own person. At the end of the day, like, I still am going to have my individual beliefs, my individual values, and my individual time to myself as well. If I make friends, I don't need to self-isolate because, like, I don't need to self-isolate just because I'm scared that I'm going to depend on them for my happiness, because I've learned within myself that just isn't true. I've learned within myself that I can make myself happy. And so now I know I can, like, go and share this happiness with others. As cheesy as that sounds. But, yeah. I also want to talk about, like, what you should do if you don't have this situation. Because I also had a lot of people in my comments mentioning this. That they had harder situations than me. And I really understand that. I really empathize with that. And for me personally, I knew that I was holding myself back despite being around other people. Like I said, I had acquaintances, but I really put up a wall around myself. And I wonder when I read these comments, like, are you in complete self-isolation or are you just putting a wall around yourself? And if you're in the latter category, then I really encourage you to open up. Just like slowly, over time. Because I feel like slow changes are really the booster to long-term effects, long-term help. Especially if you have school as an outlet. Like, you're around people basically all day. You know? It really is a choice whether you keep your headphones off and make slight conversation to the people around you, or you keep your headphones on the whole time during class and don't talk to anybody. If you're comfortable. Hell, you could even talk to the teacher. Like, I say that's a step forward in the right direction. The teacher's not going to judge you if that's what you're scared of. The teacher is literally there to support you. Like, that's what they're being paid for. So I just think, like, school is a really helpful outlet if you've realized, like, wait, I really do self-isolate. This is really not healthy. This is really not going to get me to the life that I want. And I also want to mention that people are nicer than you think. And if somebody's not nice, well then they're just not your target audience. Like, it's easier said than done, but don't worry about them. Like, seriously. And don't worry about the what ifs either. Because if you're constantly thinking like, oh, what if I say hi to this person and start a conversation with them and they just give me a weird look? That's a what if. But what if they don't? I challenge myself whenever I say like a what if, like, what if this happens? But then I also say like the other side, like, well, what if it doesn't happen though? What if it doesn't happen? What if everything turns out okay? Then what? And it really shifts your mindset from being negative to way more optimistic really quickly and really easily. Just with that slight shift of words. And if you don't have school as an outlet, I think I'd just recommend just being more friendly to the people around you. Because you're not in complete self-isolation. You need to go get groceries. If you see a interesting random person in the grocery store, and I can speak from experience because I've done this, like, just say something random to them. It could be about the groceries, like, genuinely. And then half of the time, they'll just like give you a nice like response. And you guys aren't gonna be friends at all after that, most likely. But it just gets you out there and it gets you comfortable talking to people. And it gets you out of this state of self-isolation. And then once you have an outlet to where like you can start making friends, like maybe you like join a club or something, or maybe you like talk to somebody in a library or in a coffee shop, then those are outlets where you can like really progress within self-isolation, whatever. And I actually think that's all I have for this video. And I have a song recommendation, but I don't know what it's called. I think it's called like The Eighth Wonder of the World. And I don't know who it's by, but I'll link it in the description. And yeah, that's all I have for today. This video was kind of long, but the other video was longer, so I guess it wasn't that long. But I wish you all the best, honestly. Like, truly, I wish you all the best.